Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Well, hey everybody, welcome back. It's another Friday here at Giga-Texas, and beautiful day to fly today. We have a lot of things to see. Now, before I get into what we're going to talk about in the intro, a couple of things that I want to mention. Tomorrow down at San Antonio, we have the EV truck rodeo going on, and there's going to be a lot of different manufacturers there, plus the Cybertrucks. So a great opportunity if you're in the area to come out and see what all the options are for electric trucks. And as I mentioned before, we're here in truck country, United States, so perfect place for that to take place. The other thing I want to mention briefly is just congratulations to Intuit Machines for their lunar lander successfully landing on the moon yesterday, the first time since December of 1972 with Apollo 17 that we landed on the moon. And it's very difficult to do, and it was quite a challenge, and they overcame several last-minute issues to make that successful landing. So I just want to say congratulations to the entire team for their success, and I'm very excited about that. Now, here at Giga-Texas today, a couple of things that I want to just point out that you'll see in the video. First, on the west side at the boring machine tunnel section, the crews have added more of those beams, getting ready for the belt cassette to extend over to the Proof Rock 3, and that'll be part of the removal of the dirt and the spoils during the tunneling process. There's some additional work that's being done at the Proof Rock 3 as well, getting ready for the boring to commence, and that includes sections of the concrete tunnel items that are going to be used to make the actual tunnel itself. Those have been moved over by the Proof Rock 3 as well, so great sign. Another thing that I want to just highlight briefly is over on the northeast corner by casting machine structure. Work continues on that apron widening, and again, they've got the rebar, the forms, and they're getting ready to pour the concrete for that section, which is going to be used for casting racks and to free up space. Nearby there, crews are busy cutting and removing more of the concrete sections next to the wall of the casting machine structure. They've moved a lot of the rack mounts and castings away from that area, and they're extending that saw cutting all the way to the east side where the berm is. So this is a big rework that is going on. So something to watch to see what they do. And finally, up at the temporary electrical switchyard, we know that they have been disassembling it and getting ready for it to be completely removed. Today we just saw that the last remaining steel pole has been disassembled and is being removed. All of the equipment except for one transformer, and of course the underlying copper grid will be the next thing that they have to remove. But otherwise it's pretty close to being done. There's a lot more to see today, and make sure you check out my B-roll at the end of the video for a cameo by Larry Goldberg, who came out and got a chance to visit with me as well. So as always, thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great weekend. Take care.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. I was able to get a good early morning start here at Giga-Texas today. The sun is just coming over the horizon, and the lighting is really nice for this early morning view. And we're going to start on the southeast side. I'm going to trail around where the extension of River Road will go through the trees. You can see that dirt path right now between the two ponds, and then it will be having a new intersection in this location where you see those steel corrugated pipes being installed, and then of course Robotic Avenue, which continues from the center to the upper right of the screen. So this part of the road work is really starting to develop now. A good view of the downtown Austin over the multi-level parking garage. which is continuing to grow towards the east and towards the north, and it's starting to become its final rectangular shape. I think I have one more footing distance to the east to go, and it will have reached its full width. You can see the second ramp for the vehicles in that middle with kind of those window-like concrete items is underway right now, and that is great to see that this entire progress is moving along so quickly. We see more of the double T panels on the trailers getting ready to be lifted up and installed. And along the north end, we can see some more columns getting ready for installation and some conduit work that's going on near the stairs and that elevator shaft. And of course, the concrete that has been poured on the roof section of this part of the facility. And I'll continue to maneuver around on the west side. So you can see the conduit that is continuing to be installed on that left corner. That manhole cover pipe with that steel corrugated section sticking up out of the ground for the stormwater pipe, and also more conduit that is going on the south end, along with more earthwork and looks like some equipment starting to be installed, probably for concrete in the middle sections right now. So great to see that continued progress. As I turn back towards the south end of the building, get a good sense that the 4 large tanks are continuing having some of the final welding done. The tank tops are still on the ground waiting for installation. And we also see in the upper left corner more of that CDAC glass has been installed in the wooden crates. As I come up over the power lines, I'll look down. You can get a good sense here of the continued assembly and welding of these very large tanks, and of course that reinforced foundation that they are sitting on. I want to get a little closer to the perimeter grade beam on this part of the building. You can see that continuing to be developing on the ground. The forms are starting to be placed in some sections, rebar in others, and of course some of the steel and that CDAC glass in those crates ready for installation as they continue to prepare for that south end to get at glass installed. On the center section here between the Stamping 2 extension on the right and the main building, or the new building on the left, we can see this area where some repairs and rework of the footings have taken place, plus some of the CFA piles that had some sort of damage, and those have been repaired now, and most of that work is completed. You can see that the cranes have been moved towards the center section between the new structure and the old structure, so that's a great sign that they're going to start adding steel in that area as well. Roof decking continues to be applied in the left section of the screen, and we see more of that on the second floor getting ready for rebar and the concrete. This is a good view of the section that already has the concrete on the second floor, and in the ground floor there's a lot of guy wires that are helping to keep the building straight and plumb at the moment as construction continues, and you can see some of that in the left hand side. It's a good view of the glass that has been installed already. Again, the crates ready for installation. We see the black painted columns and the strips along the perimeter grade beam and also the second floor. That's all to mount more of the glass. And a great shot of the sunlight glinting off downtown Austin in the upper left of the screen. More steel beams and roof and floor decking has been delivered on the ground here, and we can see that trapezoidal open atrium area where it might be another entrance on this corner section of the building. And it's a unique treatment. It's not like anything else that we see on this extension. As I fly between the two cranes, I want to show you the work that is going on with the footings in this section next to the building, and also those tie bars in between. Most of that work does look like it is completed now. And also in this southwest corner, all of the footing work looks to be completed. The shoring for the cranes have been moved in this particular location, and the crane relocated as well as they continue to prepare to extend the steel into this new section. And again, that's closing up that gap between the original building and the extension. So really, really great to see this level of progress. And as I bring the drone down here a little lower, you can get a good sense of all of that work in this southwest corner. As I fly along here and show you some of the work that's going on with the temporary loading platforms, we also get a chance to see about 13, 14 more Cybertrucks in this temporary staging location next to those trailers. And it's one more of the many sites that we're going to see the Cybertrucks here today. So I'm going to fly along the road towards the southwest corner, just show you some of the progress that's going on with the HDPE pipe that has been pulled underneath the road. Looks like there's some additional trenching, trench box, and those red and white dividers on this section of the roadway. There's additional work to fix that collapsed section on the right with that yellow or the orange fence around it, and that's because with some of the water and erosion, some of that riprap that's around those pipes has kind of collapsed. And of course, more work on the ground underneath the south bridge as well, plus that turnaround graveled road. So here's a good view looking back at the main factory and how it looked early on this morning. And as we cross over the highway, I want to continue to proceed towards the west, revealing the West Warehouse on Wheels, which has grown in width, as you can tell. The road that goes north to south is being used extensively. The material staging yard on the right, and of course this old contractor parking lot, which is now getting all of this trenching and conduit, most likely for lighting. And if this is very similar to what we see in the outbound lot, we should start seeing paving happening on this section as well. More of the steel on the ground and next to that truck getting the dirt, that is being used for the south end extension. And here's a good view of that material staging yard and a lot of the materials, some of those blue wrapped items, which I think is another set of stamping presses, and of course the white items on the left of the screen, which are part of the TKS modular paint system. It's a good view looking along this new roadway that kind of is the barrier between the staging yard on the left and the new outbound lot. And the new outbound lot itself is very busy today. A lot of trucks picking up vehicles. We see many Model Ys and about 25 to 30 Cybertrucks intermixed among all the Model Ys. And we even see 3 Cybertrucks being loaded on some of the trailers, such as this one here. So the amount of Cybertrucks not only are being produced, obviously increasing, but they are being moved off-site fairly rapidly. I did notice this section here, which is getting more of the excavation work along where this road will extend from the north underneath the drone and further to the south, giving 2 different access points to that southwest corner. Here's a good view of more of that north part of the outbound lot that still needs to be paved, some of the work on the trenching. And then I'm going to look back towards the outbound lot from this perspective just to give you a good sense of the amount of activity that is going on. And again, the number of Model Ys and the Cybertrucks all throughout this area, all of which are being actively moved onto these trailer trucks at a fairly quick rate today. More of the Cybertrucks on the left of the screen as well. Work continues on the 64 supercharger station, and it's arranged as drive-through, and the mounts for the canopy are already there, so hopefully we'll start seeing that being installed soon. Much more trenching going on in this south section with a lot of the concrete items and tunnel segments, and plenty of activity at the boring tunnel site as well. As I zoom in, I'm showing you next to the cement silos and the belt cassette, we can see that spool of belt that has been added on that roller, and also along with those A-frames and the beams that have been installed. And that's where the belt cassette will be routed through and then into the proof rock and follow along as the tunneling operation continues. The orange and yellow item on that white truss is part of the ventilation system that'll allow for fresh air to be pumped into the proof rock 3. The proof rock 3 itself, we can see that cutting head and all of the lifting lugs have been cut off on the proof rock 3 as well, which is an important step before tunneling can begin. We also see more of the assembly with some of the end pieces, and also where that belt cassette belt will go to pick up the spoils through the middle of the tunnel. And we see for the first time some of the tunnel segments being delivered here, which is a great sign that will be needed as the tunneling operation goes underway. And then here is that concrete section where the spoils will be deposited, and of course a good view of that belt cassette and that spool of belt and all of the other materials and supporting infrastructure to make sure that the proof rock 3 can operate. So I'm going to continue to fly back up to the north and give you another view of some of the construction going on at the south end of the outbound lot, some of these trailers for that reclaimed water, a different view of the supercharger installation, and of course the west side of the end-of-line facility, where we still see some preparation for asphalt and or concrete. Of course, the concrete curbs are already in place. They are using generators to do some of the power for the facility, and of course all the HVAC equipment installation here on the northwest corner. And on the north side, more work is going on with the frames for the windows in that section that juts out towards the drone. And we see next to that white truck some of the windows that have been recently delivered. I think one of those windows is damaged, so they are maybe waiting for a replacement to arrive. This is a good view of the section that had the the asphalt removed and preparing for concrete, I think. So something to monitor. As we fly up over the highway and resume on this side, I'm going to give you a good view of the receiving doors that have been added, the work on the thresholds, plus the load leveler systems that they are preparing for installation. So that looks like it's well advanced now. Because of the early morning, they still have the red lights on the sides of the stainless steel tunnel look that goes over the west main entrance, plus the polished up trapezoid with that stone glass, and it's looking really nice today. The Model Y end of line is very busy today. We see another one exiting the factory on that black ramp, and it looks like that spool of that orange conduit or cabling has now been removed. So whatever work they were doing inside looks like that may be completed. I want to give you a good look at this former ramp that has had most of the demolition work completed. You can see that temporary stair and landing for those doors. There is that one segment of wall that still needs to be demolished, and still waiting to see when that will happen. While I'm here, I'll pop up onto the roof, give you a good view of the roof repaired section that is still getting some work. They pulled the weatherproof membrane tight on my previous video, and they did some repair work. You can see those bright white stripes, and next to that firewall, they did some additional work to keep that weatherproof membrane secured to the roof. So hopefully they're getting a good handle on those repairs. So I'm going to reposition the drone down, and we'll take a look at the 4680 battery cell production section of the factory. 3 cranes now operational, a lot of activity onto all 3 of the platforms with more equipment and building materials finding their way inside. And again, this is working to increase the number of production lines for 4680s up to 8 later on this year. Currently, about 2, maybe 3 are operational, and hopefully the 4th one will become operational here in a few months. Some of the castings on the north end of the paint shop, but not as many as we have seen in the past. we'll see a lot more of them on the east side. As I fly around the northeast corner, we can see not only castings on next to the wall, but also this rack mount system that's using the new concrete apron. And I think that's what we'll see all along this entire section, allow that to be level and allow the trucks and other vehicles with deliveries to be able to have easier access. You can see on the left more of the rebar and the forms being installed, and of course they're preparing for concrete in that much wider section. We do see some work on the equipment on the bottom, possibly getting ready to put some of those flues for the furnace, more of the castings, and then this section has had the castings and casting racks removed so that they can continue to saw cut and remove some of the concrete. It looks like this section is growing. There was also some kind of the V2 home type chargers. You can see that line next to the yellow and red cranes. Those look like they're being removed, and they're going to reconfigure this section as well. Those were installed a couple of years ago, but they really haven't been used because of all of the castings and equipment that has been stored on this site for that time. So because of all of the rework inside with the furnaces and relocation of some of the casting machines and other equipment, they may have decided that they need to reconfigure the access into the building. So we'll watch and see how that develops. But here's a good view looking back along this northeast corner, the widened berm, and the work to prepare for that new concrete apron and the rack mounts for the casting storage location. Of course, on the roof, we can see that ventilation system that will help with the oil mist from the castings and also the heat of the furnace, and those look like they're mostly installed. Here's another good view of more casting racks on the right and castings in the dirt being stored temporarily next to those new receiving doors. And take a look at all of the castings being stored along this entire side of the factory. Pretty interesting to see just how many and where they are using right now given the constraints with space. In the testing and calibration lot, we see a lot of Cybertrucks, some of them in the superchargers, many of them in the middle section. And in between me doing some video, coming back for some pictures, even more were arriving and departing. And at one time, I counted about 93 or 94 here in this side alone, not counting what we've seen in the outbound lot on the west side, that temporary staging location, and also emerging from the south end of the building next to those 4 tanks. So as I pull away, this gives you a really good view of just how many Cybertrucks are here today, at least in this particular parking lot. And as I mentioned, more were arriving throughout my time here at the site. So I'm going to reposition the drone to give you a different view of that testing calibration lot. The former outbound lot where you see all of the cars parked, and it looks like they're ringed around the edges as well, and still more in the employee overflow lot. So let's proceed over to the battery cathode plant and take a look at the activity there today. Here's a good look at the continued extension of Tesla Road, and it will go from the upper left through the center to the bottom right of the screen, and this will give access to the battery cathode plant and die shop, but also eventually will connect it to an extension of River Road that will follow along the Colorado River. At the crash testing facility, we get a good sense of the progress with this possible dunk tank that is being constructed. You can see a good close-in view here with the formworks, the rebar coming up out of the ground, and the preparation for not only concrete, but also gives us a good sense of how deep that is. So current theory is that this is for post-vehicle crash possible uses, but I'm still waiting to find out for sure. And if you happen to know, and you can give some of the references for what that is, I would appreciate that in the comment section. Here's a good view of more trench work preparing for another outfall pipe for this water detention pond. And of course, where the water is where there's a filtration system. At the north end of the crash test facility, we see several Cybertrucks that have been crash tested. Also, of course, more of the asphalt that is continuing to be installed on this side of the building. And the cell test and recycling lab looks like this section is busy as well. On the northeast corner, we can get a good sense of the materials, some of the earthwork, and as I bring the drone up, just that view of that rectangular section that has all of the materials that I was able to show in good detail 2 videos ago. So make sure you check out my 19 February video for more of those. Here's some of that concrete that's being broken up and removed from the east side of the casting machine section. Plus we see that bridge crane and more of those equipment items, especially those large silver items waiting for installation. Good view of the north end of the cathode plant and that increased concrete apron, plus the fact that the receiving doors are definitely being used for probably new materials being brought in, and there is some degree of production, but I think it's still in the testing stage right now. As we fly along the asphalt section here, I did notice that the temporary loading platform has been reinstated, and they'll be using that open door for more equipment. The chiller plant looks like they're still doing work where that plastic sheeting is located, but the rest of this on the top of the roof looks like the manifolds, heat exchangers, pumps, and so forth have been installed, and possibly a small tent has been installed there too, maybe for some additional work. Good view down the alleyway and some of the activity that is going on in that section of the site, plus some trenching on that the northeast corner of the die shop, plus the west side here preparing for asphalt and hopefully getting a handle on all of the water that tends to pond in this particular area. But you can see some of the earthwork that is underway here today. So I'm going to bring the drone up and we'll proceed over towards the electrical switchyard and we'll take a look at some of the developments there today. I like this view because it shows just how little of the temporary electrical switchyard remains and the new permanent switchyard in the upper right that replaced it. And what we can definitely tell is that work for the removal of equipment is almost completed. Just one transformer item remaining, a few other small items. The fence has been removed. The fence posts have been removed. They have the concrete debris from the post bases on the upper right, and the metal pole that used to be here between those 3 trailers has been removed as well. So once the trailers are removed and the rest of the equipment, they'll probably dig down and remove the copper grounding straps that are in this area and then do the final preparation. I've been asked, what will this be once it's finished? And I don't know. There's no permits that I'm aware of for any construction here, but it is prime real estate, so I'm sure Tesla will be using it for something. It does look like there's some additional work going on here, maybe inspections for the megapacks, and you can see the trucks and the workers. The north end still has everything connected, so it looks like power is flowing to all of the megapacks. And this will be a good view from this vantage point over the megapacks back towards the main site. But again, you can see all of the workers, the trucks, and some of the open cabinets here by the megapack site today. So anyway, I think that's pretty much the view around Giga-Texas on this Friday. The big news is production of Cybertrucks seems to be growing rapidly, with well over 140 visible on the site today. Of course, a lot more progress with construction and new projects as well. As always, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I hope you have a great weekend. Take care.